Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to learn about different properties of electromotive force or EMF regarding the primary and secondary cells. Actually, we are going to study or we are continuing the chapter electromotive force. So, today we will learn about primary and secondary cells, half cells and cell potential, or the single electrode potential. Both are similar, just I will try to give little bit more precise or preference over this. So standard EMF of a cell, that means what is the exact value or EMF value, electromotive force value for a cell. And also first we have learned about the half cell, and then we will learn about the full cell, then determination of EMF of a half cell. Actually, there is no direct method so that we can determine the EMF of a cell, half cell. So, we will use some other indirect process so that we can determine the EMF of a half cell. We can easily determine the EMF of a full cell by connecting some voltmeter or something like this, but it is not so easy to determine the EMF of a half cell. So today we will learn how we can determine the EMF of a half cell. Then if we have some time, predicting cell EMF, how we can think about or how we can find out or how we can predict the value of a value of EMF of half cell or full cell. Then predicting the feasibility of a reaction. Actually, there are some reaction, it may happen or not. If the reaction has the EMF value positive, then we will find out that the reaction is feasible, and if the uh, EMF value is negative, then we will consider that the reaction will not proceed. So let's start with the primary and secondary cells. Actually, you are familiar with both the cells. You have, all of you have your mobile phones. Even right now you are using your mobile phones to continue the class or some other purpose. So in this mobile phone you have some batteries or cells, so that once you can get it charged and another time you can get it recharged. That means charge and discharge. So how discharge? When you are using your phone, it is getting discharged, and when you plug into the power cable to the electricity, then it gets charged. So if any cell is combined, or if any cell is prepared in such a way that it can perform both as electrolytic and galvanic, that means rechargeable. Just in single word we can say the cell is rechargeable. That types of cell are considered as secondary cells. So in your mobile phone or any other device where we have the rechargeable cells or rechargeable batteries, that are considered as secondary cells, and rest of them are primary cells. Just normally what we purchase from, we have different dry cell companies like Olympic, Sunlight or something like this. Just regular regular dry cells are considered as primary cells. And till now we have many different types of rechargeable dry cells also. That means all the mobile phones, that are also one kind of dry cell, that different types of lithium ion or some other different types of, that are very long lasting, and also it can store lot of charges. Therefore that types of cell, if that cell can be recharged after certain period or at the same time. So sometime you can have your phone you are using, and same time it is in connected to the electric power. So at the same time the charge and discharge both are happening. So that types of cell are considered as secondary cells. And if the cell can work only in single direction or single way, that means either charge or either discharge, so in that case we will say the cell is primary cell. Then half cells and cell potential. In last classes I have shown you some figure regarding the cell. This is one kind of cell. This is a electrolytic cell. So we have two different electrodes here. This is one electrode, this is another electrode, and sometime you may have same electrolyte or it can have different electrolytes. So the we have two different half cells. That means anode dipped into some electrolyte that consists of or that combine to give an half cell, and this is a cathode, and if it is dipped into some electrolyte, so the electrolyte and the cathode that consist or that gives another half cell. So this is an half cell, and this is another half cell. So every cell we have two different half cells. So what are the reactions or how much electricity either used or generated? That is the EMF of that cell or that half cell. So if you dip some electrode inside some electrolyte, in that case it has some tendency to gain or to lose some electrons. So that is the estimation of the EMF of that half cell. Just but it is not connected. The half cell, two half cells, if they are not connected externally, or that means if they are not connected by any means, then we can consider this is an individual half cell and this is another individual half cell, and the EMF of a half cell is considered as the say half cell potential, and also for another half cell the EMF of another half cell is considered as the half cell potential. So if we connect the two half cells, then we can get the EMF of the full cell, and we can easily determine the how much voltage or how much electricity flow through this by connecting a voltmeter. That means how much voltage difference is gain generating in between these two. So just half cell or half cell potential, that is half cell is the electrode dipped into the electrolyte, that is known as the one half cell. Another, that one electrode dipped into some electrolyte, that is known as another half cell. So when an electrode is dipped into an electrolyte, it has some tendency to gain or lose some electrons. That is considered as the EMF of that half cell. Understand? Okay. Half cells and cell potential. So what was the half cell? Already mentioned. Electrochemical cells are made up of two half cells. Already I have shown and mentioned, is consisting of an electrode which is dipped in an electrolyte. Just both component or both part we have an electrode which is dipped into some electrolyte. The same electrolyte can be used for both half cells. Sometimes we can have same electrolyte or sometimes we can have different electrolytes. The half cell, these half cells are connected by a salt bridge. Already during our galvanic cell we have shown that the half cells are connected by a salt bridge which provides the platform for ionic contact between them without allowing them to mix with each other. So we can connect the two different electrode, like that means two different half cells. We can connect two different half cells directly or indirectly using a Sol bridge. So when we use the Sol bridge, what happens? It makes a connection in between two parts of the cell, so that the ion, that means, so for ionic contact, provides the platform for ionic contact between them without allowing them to mix with each other. So only the ions can transfer, no, not the electrolyte. An example of Sol bridge is a filter paper which is dipped in a potassium nitrate or sodium chloride solution. So how we can prepare the Sol bridge? Just very simple. Maybe any cellulose. Filter paper is a kind of cellulose paper. So or any other thing, or any piece of cloth or whatever. So mainly simplest way we can prepare, we can take a piece of filter paper and dip into potassium nitrate or sodium chloride solution. Actually what we are making, the cellulose itself do not conduct ion or electricity anything, but if you dip into some ionic solution, this is potassium nitrate, this is an ionic solution, or sodium chloride, that is also ionic solution, or sodium chloride is ionic compound and potassium nitrate, that is also a ionic compound. So when you dip the cellulose or filter paper into a solution of an ionic some compound, in that case you have a lot of ions inside the cellulose, therefore it can easily help to transfer ions. So by this way we can prepare a Sol bridge. So one of the half cells of the electrochemical cell loses electrons due to oxidation and other gains electrons in a reduction process. So I have mentioned just in a single sentence that the tendency to gain or lose electron, that is measured as the EMF of the half cell. So here we have mentioned in another way, one of the half cells of the electrochemical cell loses electrons due to oxidation and other gains electrons in a reduction process. It can be noted that an equilibrium reaction occurs in both the half cells, and once the equilibrium is reached, the net voltage becomes zero and the cell stops producing electricity. So when we will feel that our dry cell or any other cell is damaged, actually what happens, you have certain or a specific amount of chemicals inside your cell. So when you use the dry cell or the cell, it produces some, or due to some chemical reaction inside it, that means it is going towards the equilibrium. You are familiar with the equilibrium. So at the first, the rate of the forward reaction for the equilibrium is very high, and at the beginning the backward reaction is very low. So actually in case of dry cell or normal galvanic cell, we have only one types of chemicals, so there is no reverse reaction. So reverse reaction, if we had the reverse reaction, then it would work as a reversible cell or secondary cell. As in previous slide I have mentioned that it can be used as rechargeable battery or rechargeable cell. So when we have certain amount of chemicals inside the cell, during the use of your cell, the reaction happens and it generates some electricity. So when the chemicals are completely consumed, that means the reaction is over, forward reaction reached to the end, there is no further reactant, all of them converted into product. So if the reaction was an reversible reaction, in that case we could research again, but not always, because for some primary cell we have certain amount of chemicals, and as the mm, as time proceeds, as time goes, then the reactant molecule completely finish, and then there is no electricity. So in that time we can think about the cell is dead or useless. So it can be noted that an equilibrium reaction occurs in both the half cells. Actually in two half cells we have, so one will gain the electron, another will donate the electron, but in some time, so the tendency of giving electron and another one gaining electron, that are not equal at the beginning. So when time passes, the mm, ability to donate electron and ability to gain electron becomes equal certain time, and therefore at the position where the tendency to gain electron and to uh, donate electron, that becomes equal, that can be considered as equilibrium. So if the equilibrium is reached for a cell, then it cannot donate or cannot accept electrons, therefore the cell is no more working. So the net voltage becomes zero and the cell stops producing electricity. The tendency of an electrode which is in contact with an electrolyte to lose or gain electrons is described by its electrode potential. So we have mentioned that how long or how fast the electron can be donated or accepted by the electrode is known as the electrode potential. The values of this potential can be used to predict the overall cell potential. So if you know the cell potential for a half cell, and two half cells are connected to make a full cell, then we can get the idea or we can predict the value for the cell potential. Generally, the electrode potentials are measured with the help of the standard hydrogen electrode as the reference electrode. Actually, in next slides I will show how we can determine the EMF of a half cell. Normally, in the previous slide I have mentioned that we can easily determine the voltage or cell potential using a voltmeter, but in case of half cell it is not possible. So let's see single electrode potential. Already I have mentioned similar thing. An electrochemical cell consists of two half cells with an open circuit. The metal electrode in each half cell transfers its ion into solution. So in if you have some open circuit, that means not two half cells are not connected. Hmm? Just one part, another part, we are not connecting with any other connection, no wire or no other thing. So with an open circuit, the metal electrode in each half cell transfer its ion into solution. That means if you dip some electrode into a electrolyte, in that case what will happen, the electrode will donate some electron to the electrolyte. Thus an individual electrode develops a potential with respect to the solution. So when the electrodes or the two half cells are not connected, in that case let us consider you have two different electrodes like this way. Maybe this is one electrode and this is another electrode, and these are dipped into two different solution or two different electrolytes. So if these half cells are not connected, so each electrode is merged or dipped into some electrolyte. So what will happen? the individual electrode, both the electrode will donate some electrons to the solution or electrolyte. So what will happen if we consider for only one? So when this electrode is dipped into some electrolyte, it will donate some electron. So what will happen? Thus an individual electrode develops a potential with respect to the solution. So this electrode will produce some, because it is donating some electron. So for any types of, if two half cells are connected, in that case the function is little bit different. However, if they are not connected, in that case the electrode is donating electron to the electrolyte, therefore some electrode develops a potential with respect to the solution. The potential of a single electrode in a half cell is called the single electrode potential. So what is the electrode? That means in this electrode, if the electrode is dipped into an electrolyte, then some potential develop in between the electrode and solution. In that case, we will consider the potential of a single electrode in a half cell is called single electrode potential. So as for example, thus in Daniell cell, in which the electrodes are not connected externally, that means Daniell cell or galvanic cell, what we think, if there is no connection, that means if you are not using the cell, in that case what will happen? The zinc anode, the anode, zinc and zinc 2 plus, zinc is the electrode and zinc 2 plus is the electrolyte. So thus in the Daniell cell, in which the electrodes are not connected externally, the anode zinc 2 plus develops a negative charge and the cathode copper 2 plus is a positive charge. So both the time, so you may consider why I didn't put this copper 2 plus in the left side. Actually, when there is no connection in between the cells, two half cells, both of them are in same way, there is no connection in between two half cells, so both of them are working in similar way, just electrode dipped into electrolyte, so both of them are giving the similar potential. It may positive or negative, it doesn't matter. So just it will work in similar way. Thus in Daniell cell, in which the electrodes are not connected externally, the anode zinc electrode and zinc ion, or electrode and electrolyte develops a negative charge and the cathode copper 2 plus a positive charge. The amount of the charge produced on an individual electrode determines its single electrode potential. So the amount of the charge, how much charge is produced on an individual electrode determines its single electrode potential. If it produces lot of charge, then it will have a very high voltage or it will have a high electrode potential. So the single electrode potential of a half cell depends on the concentration of the ion solution. That means if you take a electrolyte with very less concentration and another with very high concentration, in that case you will have more electrode potential in the case where the concentration of the solution or the electrolyte is very high. That means the electrode potential of a half cell depends on the concentration and tendency to form ions. There are some metal and metal ions. So there are some metal which cannot create ions very easily and some of them can form very easily. So tendency to form ions, if the metal is used so that it can donate, or it can uh, for the ions, if it can gain the electrons very fast, so it can have the higher electrode potential. So, and also in case of temperature, if you increase the temperature of the electrolyte, so that is very similar to the kinetic energy. Huh? Due to increase the temperature, the electrolyte will uh, show the tendency to gain more ions. So if the increase the temperature, the electrode potential will increase. A standard EMF of a cell. So till now we have learnt about the half cell and cell potential, and now we would like to learn about the standard EMF of a cell. So if you have a full cell, that means two half cells are connected, then you can have the electrode potential for the cell. So the EMF generated by an electrochemical cell is given by the symbol E. Just we represent by the symbol E. It can be measured with the help of a potentiometer. So EMF of a cell, just if you have a full cell, you can have the EMF, you can measure using a potentiometer. So EMF generated by an electrochemical cell is given by the symbol E. It can be measured with the help of a potentiometer. That means for a full cell, the value of EMF varies with the concentration of the reactants and products in the cell solution and the temperature of the cell, as already mentioned in this slide. That means the value of EMF depends on concentration, tendency to form ions, and also the temperature. So the value of EMF varies with the concentration of the reactants and the products in the cell solution and the temperature of the cell. When the EMF of a cell is determined under standard conditions, it is called the standard EMF. We have some standard conditions. A standard condition, that means if the concentration of the solution is 1 molar and temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, or if we consider for Kelvin, that is 298 Kelvin. So the standard conditions are 1 mole solution, 1 molarity of reactants and products, the temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, and thus the standard EMF may be defined as the EMF of a cell with 1 molar solution of the reactants and products in solution measured at 25 degrees Celsius. So if you have a cell and if you determine the EMF of that cell at a standard condition, then that EMF is represented by the standard EMF of that cell. So if you have a gaseous component, in that case you have to add another component. For gaseous we cannot measure the concentration. In that case we will measure the pressure, because for gas we always use to measure the pressure instead of concentration, but in case of liquid we can measure the concentration. So in the standard EMF of a cell is represented by the symbol for gases 1 atmosphere pressure is a standard condition instead of concentration. For zinc copper voltaic cell, the standard EMF E0 is 1.10 volt. So this is the cell representation. Zinc 2 plus, that means this is electrode, this is ion. What is the standard condition? This is in aqueous solution, that means in liquid. In aqueous solution the concentration of the electrolyte is 1 molar. Similarly for the another part of the cell, this is electrolyte and this is in ionized form. So aqueous or liquid, and the concentration is 1 molar. So here also 1 molar, here also 1 molar, and this is our electrode. So this is one electrode, this is another electrode, this is one electrolyte, this is another electrolyte. So they are connected. So this is the symbol representation. That means if you have these types of two lines, then you can consider this is connected by some salt bridge or some external connection. So this is connected. If you represent only this part and this is another part by separate lines or separate way, if you do not put these two symbols, then you cannot have the connection. That means to mean or to represent the you have some connections, you need to put two lines here, two straight lines. So now if these two half cells are connected, then we will get the overall cell potential of this cell. So that is the standard the cell potential of this cell, and that is 1.10 volt. So when you prepare any cell out of these types of electrode and electrolyte, then you will get the output as 1.10 volt. But if you change the concentration of this, either this one or this one, in that case you can get more or less out of here, because if you use more concentration for both of them, in that case you can have more electrode potential or standard electrode potential. But that will not be standard, because for a standard condition we will have always the concentration 1 molar, and the temperature should be at 25 degrees Celsius. Okay. Determination of EMF of a half cell, that is little bit long, however that is not so difficult. So how we can determine the EMF of a half cell? Actually, as I have mentioned, that we can determine the cell potential for these types of cell if you connect the two half cells by some external connection. That means here we have given some salt bridge, so external connection. So if you connect these two half cells with some external connection, and in between you can put some voltmeter, so you can easily determine how much electron is flowing through one electrode to another. So that way we can easily determine. But in case of half cell, you cannot measure the electrode potential of the half cell so easily. In that case, what we will do, by a single electrode potential we also mean the EMF of an isolated half cell or its half reaction. That means exactly what we mean by the half cell, that again it has been defined. The EMF of a cell that is made of two half cells can be determined by connecting them to a voltmeter, already mentioned several times. However, there is no way of measuring the EMF of a cell or single half cell directly, because if you do not have a full circuit, then how you will determine the voltage? So there is no way that you can have the voltage directly determined of a half cell. The EMF of a newly constructed cell, so if you have prepared a new cell, E is determined with a voltmeter just for a cell, but not for a half cell. The EMF of the unknown half cell E can then be calculated from the expression. Let us consider you have prepared a cell. One part of the cell is that means one half cell you do not know. You have prepared a full cell, but half part or half cell, one of the half cells you are familiar, you know the electrode potential of that half cell, and now you are connecting the unknown half cell unknown half cell to the known half cell. In that case, you can measure the electrode potential using a voltmeter. So by measuring the electrode potential when one half cell, unknown half cell, is connected to a known half cell, that means a standard electrode, by this way you can measure the EMF of the unknown half cell. So we will use just opposite or some reverse way. We do not know the half cell of certain half cell, but we may have some known half cell, and we can connect that known half cell to the unknown half cell. So if we can complete the circuit, in that case we can measure the voltage using a voltmeter, and then by using the equation, that means by subtraction or addition, whatever what we need, how we have connected the half cells, just we can measure the full cell potential using the voltmeter, and then we can subtract or add the potential, then we can easily find out the cell potential of the half cell of the unknown half cell. So the EMF of the unknown half cell E naught can then be calculated from the expression E measured equal ER minus EL. Any one from them we may know. So we must need to know, not may, we must need to know any one from them. So if you consider this one as reference, or right hand side or left hand side, you can consider anyway. So just if you consider, you know the left part of the cell and you do not know the right part, in that case you can get the measured voltage using a voltmeter, then you can easily find out the. Now if the standard half cell acts as anode, the equation becomes ER equal E measured. Now QEL equals 0. That means if we can use the standard electrode potential or a standard half cell made of hydrogen electrode, we know the standard electrode potential for the hydrogen electrode is 0. So if we can connect the unknown electrode, that means unknown half cell, to the hydrogen electrode, in that case we will get exactly what the measured voltage is, exactly the half cell of the unknown, because the hydrogen ion electrode has the potential 0 voltage. So that is very simple. On the other hand, if the standard half cell is a cathode, the equation takes the form EL equal minus E measured. So the standard hydrogen half cell or a standard hydrogen electrode, we represent a standard hydrogen electrode SHE, she, that for represent like for a girl or lady. So a standard hydrogen electrode, don't get confused when we write down the SHE, she. So you will think about a standard hydrogen electrode. So the standard hydrogen half cell or a standard hydrogen electrode is selected for coupling with the unknown half cell. As already mentioned, that if we can connect the standard hydrogen electrode half cell to an unknown half cell, in that case you can get the value of the unknown half cell easily. Just it can be if you use anode or cathode, depending on them you will have the sign, that is okay, but the value will be exactly what you are measuring from the standard electrode potential using the voltmeter if you connect the standard hydrogen electrode to the half cell of the unknown half cell. So the EMF of the standard hydrogen electrode is arbitrarily assigned the value of 0 volts, already mentioned. So a standard hydrogen electrode can be used as a standard for the other electrodes. So if you have some electrodes, you do not know the electrode potential, then you can connect the hydrogen electrode to the half cell, and then you can measure the electrode potential using a voltmeter, and you can get the unknown cell potential or half cell potential. The half cell whose potential is desired, that means which one you want to determine, is combined with the hydrogen electrode, and the EMF of the complete cell determined with the voltmeter. Just what I have told, exactly the same thing in the literature. So just you need to connect the hydrogen electrode to the half cell, unknown half cell, and then measure the potential using a voltmeter, then you can get the electrode potential of the half cell. The EMF of the cell is the EMF of the half cell. Actually, because the hydrogen electrode has the electrode potential 0, so we will not have any other value except the half cell potential. For example, it is desired to determine, let us consider we want to determine the EMF of zinc electrode. Already we know that one, but we want to determine. So in that case, what we will do, we will connect the half cell zinc electrode and zinc ion to the hydrogen ion electrode or hydrogen half cell. How we can connect it? This is one of our half cell, which one we want to determine. Now we want to connect the hydrogen ion electrode. That means actually hydrogen is a gas. Hydrogen, this is a hydrogen gas as 1 atmosphere. So in that case, you need to put some inert electrode inside the ion. This is our ion. So you need to get connection, you must need to put some electrode. But as hydrogen is in gaseous form, so you cannot have the connection. In that case, you need to put some inert electrode to the ion. That means this, here we have three different components. This is the ion, this is the hydrogen gas, which should be act as the electrode actually, but this one is taken as to get the connection to the other cell, half cell. So this is the connection, this is our external connection. So now you know the electrode potential for this half cell is 0, and this is a full cell. So you can measure the full cell potential of the cell using a voltmeter. Now what will happen? The final or the cell potential would be exactly the cell potential of this one, this cell, this half cell and this half cell, but this is 0. So our observed cell potential will be exactly to the cell potential of this. So by this way we can determine the half cell potential of the electrode by using some standard or reference electrode. So I think I have another example. The EMF of the cell has been found. So if we connect these types of two cells, and then if we measure the voltage using a voltmeter, then you will get around 0.76 electron volt. 0.76 volt, not electron volt. So the EMF of the cell has been found, 0 minus 0.76 volt, which is the EMF of the zinc half cell. So here we have used the zinc half cell and hydrogen half cell. So the half cell, what we have measured at the voltmeter, that is exactly the same what we should have in case of zinc electrode or zinc electrolyte individually. That is the standard electrode potential for the zinc. the EMF of the cell has been found -0.76, which is the EMF of the zinc half cell. Similarly, the EMF of the copper electrode, copper 2 plus copper, can be determined by pairing it with the standard hydrogen electrode, when the electrochemical cell can be represented as. So this is our standard electrode potential, sorry, the standard electrode, a standard hydrogen electrode up to hydrogen ion. So if you connect this standard hydrogen electrode to the copper electrode, copper ion electrode, in that case you can estimate the electrode potential of the full cell using the voltmeter. So here one very important thing, hydrogen electrode, as this has the zero voltage, that means electrode potential is zero. So you can use this electrode sometime as anode or sometime as cathode, both of them you can use. So in previous example we have used this as in the right side, and here we have used in the left side. So that is same. So we can have, if you measure the electrode cell potential for this cell, that will give the exactly cell potential of this half cell. So we have measured, or we have found the EMF of this cell is 0.34 volt, which is the EMF of the copper half cell. So the copper half cell has the EMF or electromotive force or electrode potential is 0.34 volt. So by this way we can determine the half cell potential of any unknown half cell by pairing an standard electrode. Maybe we can have other standard electrode. However, it is very good idea to use hydrogen electrode, because in that case you don't need to think about what would be the value for that standard electrode. So for a standard hydrogen electrode we have the potential just 0. Therefore what we measure or what we observe, that is the exact half cell of the unknown half cell. So that is the end of today's class. If you have any question or comments regarding this, then you are welcome.